Emma and Henry's house, right? And really, when Chris and I sat down to design it, is because it's the first scene in the movie, right? And we really liked the idea of the ghosts out front. We liked the idea, oh, there's the house, by the way. It's in construction right now. It's being built. This is prior to props and dressing. Obviously, we have to do all the ghost figures. But we like the idea of kind of teasing Sam. So the first time you see him, he is like the sheep ghost. You know, it's just like how Emma tragically encountered him in the movie. And of course, you're going to run into Emma as well when you're going through this section. But for Orlando,
because we had done the zone already, we really wanted to kind of hit the guests over the head with something large in scale right off the bat. So we're beginning our maze with Creaks House, and this is in our parade building facility. So we're building Creaks House, and this is to scale. You're going to walk through the front door to scale of Creaks House. So these are some in-progress photos of the facade for our trick-or-treat maze in Orlando.
But the thing I noticed right away when we all started comparing is that we hit all the same beats. Like literally every beat in the film that's in our maze is in Mike's maze, and vice versa. They may be in different spots, but all of the same beats are going to be hit. And just again to like we look at each other's work. Sometimes we blatantly steal things from each other. We blatantly stole this idea from your scare zone, actually. The idea of doing the puke scene. If you don't know what we're talking about, maybe Mike, you could explain what you guys did.
So in this story, obviously Wilkins, he has kind of poisoned a lot of the candy that he gives out to kids who have been bad. And this unfortunate young man eats some of that candy and he vomits profusely. The most chocolatey vomit you've ever seen.
Chocolatey, yeah. It's disgusting.
So we recreated this in the scare zone. We actually had made a dummy of the small boy that on cue could vomit right there in front of the guests as they were walking through the zone. And then Wilkins was a live performer, so he would kind of draw the guests in closer and then cue it right before, right when they didn't expect it. And this poor dummy of this kid would just profusely vomit all over the street. It was awesome.
And we both saw what Orlando did, so we incorporated a similar effect into the maze. So when you go to the principal, and I should mention, because it's an anthology horror movie, we're really trying to introduce the different sections. So there's like little tableaus that introduce the idea. Oh, this is the principal, or this is the Halloween School Bus Massacre, or this is Surprise Party. So we're going to do all of that as you're going through. And then you sent me a video recently where you guys were R&D'ing with Marissa and her team, the Mr. Pukey, or whatever we're calling him.
So I can tell you the way that we've positioned this is that you guys will definitely get wet. And
Pukey wet,
yeah,
which is better than normal getting wet. There's a picture of what we were just talking about. There's the chocolatey, bloody puke.
Yes.
And there's Mike's scare zone from last year, right?
Yes, that was last year, yeah.
Surprise Party, that's another section of the movie where these girls are dressed up in kind of sexy princess costumes, and they're going to a special party, and then once you get there, you find out there's something very mysterious going on with these girls. So that's your costume, I think, on this?
Yes, yeah, that's a work in progress. We've made some alterations between the costume that we did in the scare zone and the one we're doing in the maze, but that's an in-progress version of our Red Riding Hood.
But we really wanted to capture that moment, and it's in Chris's design, just like you see there of walking down that lane in the woods, and something terrible is, you can hear it in front of you, something bad's happening, and lots of people are dying. But we wanted to have that moment where you're walking through the woods and there's the jack-o'-lanterns and everything. As I mentioned, something bad happens with these princess girls. They all start to transform, and at first you think they're kind of turning into vampires because they get the fangs and the features that are very vampire-like. But then they rip off their flesh and they turn into werewolves. Like that. Ooh, it moves. It's cool. We can just watch that. Every night I lie in bed. I do the whole song. My kids have been listening. I just drove to Dublin, to 3.5 hour bus drive, and I listened to that soundtrack 5 times. So I can sing any song from Greatest Showman right now. But we won't. So as I mentioned, they turned into werewolves. So that meant we had to create werewolf versions of these girls. This is actually a picture, you found that in the book, right?
Yeah.
Mike, when we first met him, do you remember he gave us that coffee table book on trick or treat? And it has this awesome picture. And it's funny, in the movie, you don't see that much of the werewolf. You just see the Greatest Showman version that I showed you there. But you don't really see the full, transformed werewolf until it's just the head howling at the moon at the end of Sweet Dreams by Marilyn Manson.
But we're going to show it off.
Oh yeah, of course. So let's show it off. This is our sculpt for the werewolf girl. This is done by Pat McGee Effects.
And how we've gotten this positioned is that our performer will look out the mouth there, through the mouth to see vision. So, we can alter the head to make it look very canine. And
it's such a weird combination because you also have to marry the princess dress to this. So it's just a bizarre thing. And then Mike?
Yeah, this is an in-progress version of a puppet we're developing for the wolf as well. So you'll see a couple different versions of the wolf in the maze. This is, again, in progress of a puppet that we're building to be able to really attack the guests. And much in the same way, again, that's one thing we learn on things we've done in our past as well. Figure out how can we improve it, change it to make it a little bit better, a little bit more quality. But yeah, that's a little sneak peek there.
And we're working on a similar thing, but it's not quite sculpted yet, so I couldn't share it with you today. But you'll see in the maze. And then, of course, there's the werewolf girls mid-transformation. We actually, in our maze, you're just going to see them as the werewolf girls, but you're going to see this look in the scare zone. Oh, damn. You didn't hear that. But this is going to be the, we're doing a trick-or-treat scare zone in addition to the maze. There we go. Oops. Too late to take it back. Well, come on, it's you guys, right? You're not going to go on the internet and talk about this, right? I can trust you. So for the scare zone, we're going to have both the fully transformed werewolf girls and the girls mid-transformation. So this is the prosthetic sculpt for the mid-transformation werewolf girl. Of course, we have to do the Halloween school bus massacre scene because it's bitchin'. And when we were working on this, and you guys thought the same exact way, when Chris and I were talking about how do we want to do this scene, this is an image. I think when I was writing the first outline, I sent this image to you and said, it should be that should be what we see.
Exactly. Yep, and that's what you'll see.
So you're going to see the partially submerged school bus in water with all the cat tails, is that right? Cat tails around it, and you encounter all of the school bus massacre kids. If you don't know the film, this is the School Bus Massacre Kids. These parents put all their troubled children on the bus and they pay the bus driver off to drive them into a quarry and kill all their kids. But of course, as in all horror movies, it doesn't quite go like that and they come back. When they come back, they look like this. They've been rotting down there in that water for decades, so they look all, kind of partially disintegrated and mildewy and slimy and that's the look that Chris and I latched onto for the maze. And just to give you a close-up, that's kind of what it looks like in the film. And then this is your illustration.
This is a color elevation of the quarry, and it's a massive scene near the tail end of the maze. And the bus is practical, so even though it's drawn in this picture, it is going to be a practical element within the scene. So again, filled with fog and the unfortunate ghostly souls of those poor kids.
And speaking of those poor kids, let's take a look at them. I'll take you through. We're going to do all of them, every one of them in the maze, and the scare zone, which you don't know about. So this is I'm going to quiz you guys on your knowledge of trick-or-treat. Does he have an official name? The Dracula Kid?
God, Dracula Kid?
I don't know, I'm asking, I really don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, Dracula Kid. We're going to do Dracula Kid. We're going to do the Bunny Kid. That's the sculpt we're working on right now for that. Skeleton Kid? I'm just going to make up names as we go along.
These are all done by McGee Effects as well. And if you look at that texture on there, they really tried to get that
paper mache look.
Yeah, totally, absolutely, yep.
This is Big Head Smiley Face Kid.
Right now there's someone live streaming or in the audience going, I know their names.
I know their names. I'm sure that's happening at this very moment. The Devil Face Kid, the Clown, big bag overhead smiley face guy.
I love it. It's great.
And upside down princess.
And so these are masks that we used in our Scare Zone last year, so we're really excited to be able to show their decayed form within the maze. But we can flip through these. These are actual ones we built for the Scare Zone last year. And they're exact to the film in color and in scale.
And then, of course, we have to meet Sam. And there's a section of the movie called Meet Sam. And of course, that means we have to produce Sam. So I think the Sam image, that's Orlando's
Yes.
Sam, right?
Yep, there's
We're still
Sam.
doing ours.
Yep.
And then that's Unmasked Sam, which will be the same for both of ours.
That's right.
And then, just weird little practical things. Sam is a tiny, tiny little guy. But he's got this prop, this broken sucker prop that he uses like a knife. So on the smaller one, that's actually Trick or Treat Studios, the mask company. That's actually the one they sell, but you had to make it bigger, yeah?
Yeah, we made it a little bit bigger and made it soft as well as more durable, actually. And
Because you always have to think about, a guy trying to stab you, that
Yeah.
it has to be something soft.
So Tony Lindis, our head of our props team, had fabricated this larger sized one, and it also has an aluminum stick on it, basically, as well. So
Beef it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then for our maze ends with Mr. Creaks' house. So you're going to come to that house. We're going to build the whole house, all the pumpkins out front, the pumpkin jack-o'-lanterns. You're going to walk through the house. That's a couple of images of it in progress you just sent me the other day.
Yeah, it's such a tight approach.
Couldn't get it into
to
one picture, yeah.
No, couldn't get it. But we're prepping it now for foliage and vines and such. So this was really very recent.
And then, of course, you're going to meet Mr. Krieg. So that's your wardrobe. That's Mike's wardrobe, I think, on that side. And then, of course, you have to go to Mr. Krieg's bedroom. That's our scene. It's being painted like as we speak.
Yep.
They just started working on it. We're also going to we'll do a ceiling. You're doing a fabric ceiling as
Yes.
well that gets painted on. So you'll see all of that. Marissa's team is making an awesome jack-o'-lantern that looks like it's on fire, just like in the film. That's Orlando's.
Here's
Yep.
Orlando. So there's the interior of the stairwell in Creaks' house, and then his bedroom, and there's the pumpkin, and that'll be a really fun kind of distractionary technique with a faux fire element that will occur that will draw everybody's eyes that way, so that you can't see where
The
Sam's
scare is
gonna come
coming from. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the cool things about Trick or Treat is everywhere you go in the film, Sam is kind of there and he's watching you. So I think both of us picked up on this, where as you're going through, you're going to see, in addition to the live performers who are playing Sam that are scaring you, you're also going to see all of these little tableaus, just like out of the film. This one, literally, exactly like you see from the surprise party. So you'll see Sam throughout the entire experience as well. All right.